Okay, so you just got your first motorcycle, or perhaps it's your first time riding in a city, and you're thinking to yourself, man, it's freaking hectic out in a city. I am concerned about riding my bike in a city, but that's where your sweet Papa Yam comes in and helps you out, folks. Today, I'm going to be riding through the beautiful city of Austin, Texas, telling you guys everything I know about riding in a city. You guys can see my techniques here. I'm going to talk you through stuff I think about while I'm in the city and give you some tips and tricks on how to ride in urban environments. Let's jump aboard our giveaway Suzuki GSX 8R. Hit the link down below to yamanube.co. Get yourself entered to win this fantastic machine. Pick up a Squid Missile key tag, and you will be entered to win. How cool is that? Let's swing a leg over this bad boy, and let's begin, shall we? Got our 360 camera here. Hopefully get you guys a good view of everything. Start the bike up. Let's go take our first spin, shall we? So I'll tell you guys a story. When I bought my first motorcycle, it was May of 2015, and back then I lived in downtown Dallas, Texas. Now, I had never ridden a motorcycle before. I did my MSF class, and I bought my Yamaha R3. That was my first bike that I owned. It was absolutely a trial by fire because I had to ride that bike in downtown, learning how to operate all the controls and all that good stuff while navigating city traffic. And on top of all that, it was raining the entire month of May back in 2015. I think it was like a historic amount of water that fell on Texas in that month. It was just nuts. So hopefully you guys have an easier time than I did when I first started riding, because that was quite the trial by fire, and I don't recommend it if you're thinking about starting off riding in that way. It is it's a little tricky. So when it comes to riding in the city, the first tip I can give you is to take it easy, take it slow, go way slower than you think you need to go, because by definition, riding in a city is just a little more cramped, a little more crowded, and things are highly unpredictable. So the best thing you can do is to just bring your speeds way down and be about twice as vigilant as you normally would be if you're riding around a suburban or a back road environment. There's so much more that can go sideways in a city, and there's so many more intersections you're gonna have to manage, and so much more you're gonna have to do. And yeah, you're going to want to make sure that you are putting yourself in a position that if something were to go wrong, if something were to jump out in front of you, or something crazy were to happen, you can quickly cover the brake, get yourself safe, all that good stuff. The second thing about cities, as you'll see here, as I'm stopped at another one, there's way more intersections in a city than in suburban or rural traffic. And the intersection management in a city is very different than in suburban or rural environments, because not only are the intersections much more plentiful, the types of intersections are often very different. Like this one right here, it's a one-way street going that way, so you don't have to look left technically whenever you're going to take off here on the green, but you just have to be so much more vigilant, because people love to run red lights in the city. They love to do stuff that they otherwise wouldn't do in normal environments. And we see here the people are stopped up over there. Our gentleman is going there. We have the green light. We're going to go ahead and go. I looked left just out of pure, practice and habit, but I technically didn't have to. The other thing in a city you're going to have to keep an eye out for is the road conditions are usually awful. You see here to my right, you got debris in the road, you got crap in the road conditions are just bad, and that's going to impact your grip levels. If you're riding around in the city and you're expecting full grip out of your tires, you will probably be sorely disappointed, because there's just so much more garbage in cities, and there's people, and there's just people throwing stuff on the ground, and they don't care for the roads as good as they do in other places. So you'll see a vastly inconsistent level of care in city streets. And again, as you guys notice, so many more intersections. So just be ready to practice your slow speeds. Some of the parking lot drills you guys are doing for the MSF are actually exactly how you're going to be riding in a city. You're going to be maybe going up to second gear at most, and then coming to a stop, floating your rear brake, using, all those slower speed skills, and being able to do them confidently. Clutch control comes into a big play when it comes to riding in the city, because you're going to be managing the clutch a whole lot, you know? And one thing I like to do when I'm riding in the city as well is to cover not only my front brake, but also my horn and my high beam indicator. Now, why is that? Because sometimes, you know, you want to stop and you want to come to a stop, but alerting someone very quickly is also a great thing to do. I learned this in, I got my indicator on. Learned this in India, Morocco, lots of places I've ridden internationally, Brazil. I've ridden quite a few places around the world, and in a lot of those places, your horn is your best friend, and you are just constantly just beeping the horn, letting people know what's going on, trying to, you know, alert others to your presence. And, you know, here in America, we don't do it as much. We hardly use our horns unless we're really mad at somebody or they did something wrong. But I personally like to use the horn just to give people a little reminder that I might be there, or that I'm going to turn, or whatever's going on. I think it's, you know, a good thing to use your horn in a way that keeps you safe. The other thing you got to worry about in a city is different kinds of traffic. What do I mean? I mean that there's pedestrian traffic, there's cyclist traffic, there's now e-bike traffic, there's scooter people, there's people parking on the sides of roads, there's construction workers. There's just so much more going on that you really need to keep an eye on in a city, as that you don't really have to think about when you're riding suburban, you know, or riding rural even. And I will probably make a rural riding or twisty road riding specific video, but I thought the city one would be best because you know, when there's more people and there's more traffic, you often find yourself in a position where you are in a higher crash area, you know. I often find that the city streets, okay, right here, I'm going to try to get around this guy. Okay, we got space, we're good. I often find that in the streets directly surrounding an urban core, because that's usually how it's set up here in America, those are often the most dangerous ones, because you have people using their city riding habits, but the streets are set up such that people feel very comfortable going very fast on them. You have the stroads is what they're called. They're called street roads. And public design and infrastructure people will chime in here, because I despise stroads. I think they're a blight on American society, but they often cause people to drive much faster. When you're in a city like this and you've got pedestrians, you got cycling lanes, you got people coming the other direction, what can happen is, you know, you start to tend to naturally slow down because you don't feel comfortable going fast with all this stuff around you. And that's definitely going to happen to you when you ride your motorcycle on city streets. I can't help but cringe whenever I see a motorcyclist going very quickly in an urban environment. I've seen, you know, guys have like a flashy Ducati and they just pin it, they hit like 80 miles an hour, and I just think, man, you are putting yourself in a massive danger zone. Massive danger zone. One thing to note as well about intersections in urban environments is typically when you get the green, the crosswalk is already going in your direction. So they design it such that, you know, when the lights turn red and, you know, people are waiting to go, pedestrians will usually have about a 5-second buffer to start walking, and then it turns green. That's so that people who are driving on the other side of the road are already seeing the pedestrians, and they're not going to be going immediately. Pedestrians always have the right of way, and as a person who cycles a lot in the city, I do a lot of bicycling, big time cyclist myself. I just think that cycling and pedestrian traffic should 100% receive all the deference, you know. I think motorcycling comes a very close second, because we are risking life and limb and we're going as fast as cars. It'd be nice if cars gave us a little bit more leeway, but you know, you can't ask for everything in this world. So if you see pedestrians, even if they're doing silly stuff, even if they're walking when they're not supposed to, even when they're, you know, like on their phones and not looking up, you have the responsibility to not hit them. So please, please, please ride safely in a city, and just, you know, if you got people walking, you got people trying to get to where they're trying to go, even if they're not paying attention, you should definitely give them a little bit of deference, give them, you know, a little bit of leeway, and try not to hit them, you know. You don't want to hit a pedestrian, even on a motorcycle. That's going to hurt for you and especially them. And think about it this way, pedestrians are making it better for everybody. They're alleviating traffic, they're allowing more walkability, it's better for public health. So, you know, just try to do your best. If you're in city traffic on a motorcycle, give pedestrians those rights of ways, you know? The other thing about city traffic is the conditions are always changing. Cities tend to have much more construction, much more road work, much more, you know, stuff like this. And so even if you ride a road the same way, the same time of day, week over week, it can change week over week, you know? I used to live right near downtown Austin, and actually in downtown Austin. I lived in both, and I had my routes that I would take up to Yamadube HQ, and they would change, you know, week over week. You know, just like this, you'd have construction being set up, or special events can happen too. Oftentimes in cities, you'll have a big concert or a tour or some kind of big show coming through, and detours get set up and things happen. So, you know, just ride in a way that you are expecting that things are going to change and be different, and you won't be as surprised whenever you have to, you know, take evasive maneuvers and take a different route.
One of the biggest challenges you'll face when riding in the city is the increased risk that comes from other motorists. Motorcycles often go unseen in dense urban areas, which poses a threat for collisions with other vehicles. While riders must have become masters of perception and learn to anticipate hazardous situations before they occur, having a lifeline in place in case something should happen can offer really good peace of mind. That's where Cardo's new Pack Talk Pro comes in. The Pack Talk Pro has all the features we love about the original Pack Talk. It has seamless, low-profile magnetic design, JBL speakers, and cross-platform connectivity, so you can chat with your friends regardless of what brand they use. But I really want to share with you guys today the new crash detection system found in the Pack Talk Pro. This unit features a built-in IMU that measures acceleration and angular velocity. When paired with your smartphone, the unit will send an alert should the IMU detect a crash. If the rider is incapacitated and unable to clear the alert, a text message will automatically be sent to an emergency contact that includes the rider's GPS location, accelerating the speed at which they can receive life-saving medical attention. Every minute counts when you're in a situation like that. Cardo is doing great work pioneering this new tech to make motorcycling even safer for riders, and I really appreciate it. If you want the best motorcycle comm system in the game with new crash detection systems, hit the link down below and use the code YNCARDO to receive 10% off your order. Thanks so much to Cardo for supporting the channel. Now let's get back to the show.
And that's the other thing about riding in urban environments is, you know, you see Dan the fireman talk a lot about this, about the escape paths and those sort of things. You should really be riding ultra defensively and thinking about where you can dip off into. You'll see here, like, for example, if you were on this road and you needed to go off to the right, you know, you have to contend with this basically a parking lot speed bumper right there. If you hit that sideways on your bike, oof, that's going to be nasty. You're absolutely not going to be able to keep it upright unless you're very, very lucky. So yeah, riding in an urban environment presents a lot of challenges for the average motorcyclist, you know? We have to really stay very vigilant. You got to really be checking out your environment. You got to really make sure that, you know, you're staying as safe as possible, because I just feel like the urban jungle is a bit calamitous for the motorcyclist. And quite frankly, I don't like riding in the city for fun. I've never enjoyed riding in the city for fun. I don't think it's very fun to just go through intersection after intersection, especially here in Texas where it gets mighty hot and mighty quickly. I don't really find it that enjoyable to do that. Oh, actually have to take a left here. I'm going to make sure that guy's not turning left. We're good to go. We're just going to go here. Alright, so check it out. Those pedestrians are walking all the way over there. I'm just going to go and take the middle here just so that if the light turns yellow, I've got space. Give them a nice amount of deference, and then we'll go right there. Easy peasy. And you just want to provide that space, you know? The same space cushion you would give to cars on the road, just give to everybody. Pedestrians, cyclists, just give everybody a little bit of room, man. If you give everybody a little bit of room, the whole thing turns much better for everybody. But yeah, there can often be different types of turn indicators in city environments. You see here, in theory, you can turn right on red in the United States, but there's that red arrow right there, and you know, it's probably there for good reason, because you have bad visibility and you can't turn. So I would just sit here, put my indicator on, and just wait until I got the green over there, because you got people coming in that way too. So in city environments, you'll often spot situations that are a bit different than you're used to in more traditional suburban environments, or sometimes different traffic signals and those sort of things. Well, since I got the green right here, I'm going to go ahead and go. I don't know why that light's not turning green for me. And that's another thing you got to be comfortable with in the city, is bending the rules sometimes. I'm an advocate of following the rules of the road. I think you should try to abide them as best you can, but sometimes they don't make sense and you just got to do what you got to do. I'm a big advocate of staying safe above all else, and for me, sitting at an intersection like a sitting duck is not my definition of staying safe. So I will often bend the rules of the road a little bit more in urban environments, just because it's going to keep me a little bit safer. But yeah, the other thing in city environments too that I really don't like is people riding right next to you. Filtering can be tricky in American city environments just because people aren't used to it, unless you live in California. Here in Texas, it was recently outlawed, which is a huge bummer. That is a really silly decision, in my humble opinion, as a motorcyclist, because filtering alleviates traffic for everybody, and the more people on motorcycles, the better, because it's better for the environment, it's better MPGs, it's lower consumerism, which maybe isn't aligned with the government, yada yada, neither here nor there. But I tend to filter in the city if we have stopped traffic and I can gain a lot of time. But honestly, because I just told you guys I try to stay as safe as possible, sometimes it's just simply not safe to filter in a given area. You might go and filter and, people are, randomly cutting up traffic or trying to change signals last minute. And so, to be quite honest, there's times I don't even filter in the city because I'm like, it's not worth it. I'm going to get killed. If everybody's stopped up and I have a nice little tunnel, I will do it. But, I normally don't make it a habit. So check it out here. They recently changed this road, and now there's a full lane for the bicycles over here. This used to be a 2-lane road. Now it's a 1-lane, and look how much slower everybody drives. People used to fly through here at like 50 miles an hour, which was nuts. They still do it on South 1st Street. I actually used to live right off of South 1st. And they just, because that road's not set up like this, it's a 2-lane and the sidewalk is right there. I used to hate walking there because people would just fly by at like 50 miles an hour because they had a 2-lane road and it was wider and people naturally drive faster. You see here the speed limit is 30. You have this huge median, the bike lane, you're just a little more congested. You just end up driving a little bit slower, and you should be doing that on your motorcycle too, because you don't want to be speeding through an area like this. Cyclists especially, and I will admit as a cyclist myself, sometimes we are a little unpredictable because we are also trying to stay safe, and cyclists are very well known for running red lights. We want to keep our watts up and keep our cadence up and all that good stuff, and sometimes cyclists can take very strange actions, so yeah, be very mindful of cyclists. If you see a dude in full lycra on a fast looking road bike, he's probably going to jump the red light. If you see a commuter style cyclist, he's probably going to abide by the rules, but that's the kind of stuff you'll pick up as you ride in the city. I think riding in the city is really great to pick up your skills and your awareness skills. It's a great way to make sure you're on the up and up with your riding abilities, and you're riding safely and all that good stuff. Got this guy trying to come across here. Just wait for him to go. But it's about staying vigilant. That's the biggest thing. The biggest thing when it comes to riding in a city is staying as vigilant as possible. My guy on the Grom, heck yeah, loving life. But that's the biggest advice I could give you. Above all else, just observe, ride a little slower, and stay vigilant. And riding in the city is really no problem. It's really no different than riding in a suburban environment, an urban environment. It's just that people just tend to be a little bit more unpredictable, tend to do things that are a little bit crazier. And as long as you're vigilant, you should be able to have a good time doing it. Boys, that's going to wrap up some tips and tricks on riding in the city. I hope you enjoyed this more laid-back vlog wherever you were in the world. Leave me a comment down below about what you think about riding in the city. Do you love it? Do you hate it? Is it something that you look forward to? Is it part of your daily commute? Just let me know down in the comments. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. See you later.
Sadly for you, this episode of Yami Noob is over, but there's a great way you can keep the conversation going with me. It's by becoming a member over on yaminoob.co. You'll join our Discord server. I'm on there literally every day. You can ask me questions, hang out with me. It's a great way to support the show. But if you just want to keep watching some amazing squid content, well, hit the link right over here and check out this next video. I promise you it's good.